This is BBC News. I'm Joanna Gosling. The headlines. Hello, welcome to BBC News, broadcasting in the UK and around the world. Russia's defence ministry says that a first group of its warplanes has left an airbase in Syria for redeployment back on Russian soil. Our chief international correspondent, Lise Doucette, reports from Damascus. Well, in a moment we can speak to our correspondent in Moscow. Sarah, this was a surprise move. What is your assessment of Russia's strategy here? And just talking there about Bashar al-Assad and the peace talks, I mean, is it clear whether Russia's position in the peace talks remains as it was, or has there been any shift? Is there a clear framework for a long-term solution to the crisis in Syria? Here in the UK, the government is to give its backing to two major rail projects in its annual budget tomorrow. The upgrading of the line between Manchester and Leeds and a new north to south line across London. Our transport correspondent Richard Westcott reports. Well, our assistant political editor Norman Smith is at Westminster. How much of a commitment is this, Norman? And what is the overview tomorrow of what movement the Chancellor actually has in terms of cutting and spending? An Italian prosecutor has told the BBC that 30 current tennis players, including two who've been in the top 20, should be investigated for match fixing. More than 50 firefighters are tackling a huge fire. The best-selling author and art historian Anita Bruckner has died at the age of 87. The European Space Agency says it's received a signal from a probe which is on its way to Mars. You're watching BBC News. This is BBC News. I'm Joanna Gosling. The latest headlines. Well, let's get more on that right now. Myanmar's parliament has elected the first civilian leader as president after more than 50 years of military rule. Our correspondent Jonah Fisher sent us this update from inside the Myanmar Parliament building. The Norwegian mass killer Anders Breivik has made a Nazi salute at the start of a court hearing which will decide whether his detention regime in jail amounts to inhuman treatment. After a weekend of physical confrontations on the US presidential campaign trail, Americans are preparing for another day of primaries. 5 states will vote, and under the rules of the election system, they could prove decisive. If Donald Trump does well, he could move a big step closer to the Republican nomination. The BBC's Nick Bryant has been assessing the field in the most important of the 5 states. He's in Florida. The head of Bangladesh's central bank has resigned after hackers stole $100 million from the government's reserves. Groundbreaking experiments on drones are being carried out in Malawi, which could speed up the delivery of HIV tests in remote parts of the country. If successful, they could cut the waiting time of results from months to weeks, potentially saving thousands of lives. Scientists say they have made a discovery which helps them understand how the Tyrannosaurus rex evolved. A newly identified species is about the size of a horse, and it predates T-Rex by around 20 million years. Our science correspondent Victoria Gill reports. You are watching BBC News.